Oh hey, I'm not dead. So, Plants vs. Zombies. Wait, hang on, this is a PvZ video. Plants vs. Zombies, a series that me and a lot of people hold dear to our hearts, with its easy to learn but hard to master tower defense style gameplay, the stylistically charming and slightly unsettling art style, and an incredibly catchy soundtrack instantly settled the game as a huge hit amongst the gaming industry, receiving spin-offs and merch alike with, varying amounts of quality. Then PopCap was like, let's make a sequel. Then PopCap said, let's keep making it. Then let's keep making it. What the heck happened here? Plants vs. Zombies 2, It's About Time was released on August 2013, exclusively on iOS devices, with it coming out on Android a couple months later on. But already something's off with what devices PvZ2 is being released on, or like thereof. PvZ1 was initially released on PC and would eventually be ported over to consoles, mobile, and even the DS, but that's a whole other story for another day. But unlike the first game, PvZ2 only came out on mobile devices for seemingly no reason. No PC port, console release or anything. But that's okay. Plants vs. Zombies has already proven to translate well to mobile games, and it's already— oh, EA bought out PopCap. Oh my god, EA is so evil! He bought out PopCap and turned Plants vs. Zombies into a soulless, greedy cash grab franchise and ruined the second game! How could EA, the vile beast of a corporation, ruin this perfectly pure game series? Wrong. Contrary to popular belief, EA, the greedy soulless corporation that will insert predatory microtransactions into everything, wasn't actually behind PvZ2's microtransactions. They only published the game. All of PvZ2's design changes from the first game can all be pointed at PopCap's change to focus on mobile gaming because I guess they felt like it. Hopefully now that the background to this game has been cleared up, let's go on with what PvZ2 started out to be. Also, wow, I talk about PvZ2 so much. I don't have all that much to say here about the betas and early versions, since the only thing I really have to go off are the first few PvZ2 videos that Zach Scott has, and there's a few interesting things to note. The world map used to be completely different from the final game, being more expansive and sometimes having diverging paths along the way to bonus levels, which you'd unlock with the world's corresponding key. Also, it just looks better. I mean, compare this to this pitiful excuse of a world map in the final game. Anyways, I'll get into the nitty gritty on PvZ2's questionable in-app purchases, but for now the fact that 2 plans would cost you more than Plants vs. Zombies 1 on Steam really says something about PopCap's change in mindset already. So, stars! These were a collectible that would be rewarded for you for completing certain objectives on a level, ranging from simply surviving the zombie attack to keeping endangered plants alive without losing any lawnmowers. Although the way you'd obtain them looks pretty tedious, where you play the same level multiple times with different objectives to get them, which is something God of War 2 of all games would then do. However, stars were removed later on, but the whole objective idea came back in spirit later on. PvZ2 also added power-ups, but I'm specifically going to talk about one of them for now, Power Pinch. This one used to be in the game where you'd pinch the zombies' heads to kill them, but later on it got removed and replaced with Power Snow. I can see why they did this, as using your big sausagey fingers on your phone's small screen probably didn't work out well. Finally, as most of you probably know, the game started out with 3 worlds, with more coming along later on in the game's release. Oh, yeah, I should probably talk about the full game. Kind of full. It's hard to tell when they keep adding plants and new modes and new plants and new poorly designed plants. Again, you know, because he's a zombie. Plants vs Zombies 2 would then go on to add 8 more worlds, with the final world coming out in early 2017. There would be a few more modes and features alongside Adventure added later on in the game's lifespan, but for this segment we'll just be looking at the game before the version 5.7.1 update. So is the game good? Yeah. Firstly, the game's graphics have changed, and personally, I think it's a pretty good improvement from the first game. While I still think PvZ1's stylistic graphics are good, some of it's stylistic alright. The graphics are much smoother, more polished, and still have that personality and style you'd expect in the Plants vs Zombies series. From the zombies ever approaching march towards your house, to Cherry Bomb realizing their fate will die in a split second as they explodinate, only to be forgotten shortly after until another is used in their place, to repeat the cycle of death and genocide in this cruel war between Botanic life and the Undead.
Boom, no need for you.
Another thing you might notice is that PvZ 2 is much faster than the first game in pretty much every regard. Zombies spawn much faster, you gain more sun, there's literally a speed up button, and levels are typically much shorter than your average PvZ 1 level. I don't really mind this change of pace too much, but you are definitely going to have to be prepared for it, as PvZ 2 won't hold back at overwhelming you. PvZ 2 introduces power-ups, which I've mentioned before, but this time the gloves are off now. Let's talk about microtransactions. There's 2 kinds of power-ups you can use during a level, plant food and powers, and I sure have some pretty mixed feelings about them. Power Snow, replaced with fire in a certain world, Power Toss, and Power Zap are all usable at any time in a level and can be used to kill zombies in 3 unique flavors. Anyways, these things suck. These feel like a cheap way to squeeze more money out of the player, and with how unfairly hard and spammy some levels get, I don't blame people for thinking this game is a cash grab with all these new sources for money PopCap added. Now, plant food gives a plant what can only really compare to a final smash that typically relates to what they do, just on a souped up level. Did I only just get 25 stun from that? Bruh. Unlike powers, I think plant food fits much better since there's way more strategies to utilize with plant food, like gaining sun quickly to build up your defense faster, stalling zombies for longer by freezing them all or springing them back with an upgrade you find later on, fully recharge a seed packet, rather than
boom boom I got your face, boom boom I died in the corner.
Although you can still get plant food from certain zombies, you'll have to buy some plant food with the coins you have, or use Power Lily, which is a plant you'll have to buy. So PvZ 2 made a questionable decision to have some plants only be bought with real world money. What? As if the power-ups weren't bad enough, you literally have to pay real world cash for plants you unlocked for free in the last game. Oh, sure, later on they made some of them unlockable with in-game currency or seed packets, but the fact they had the goal to do so in the first place is pretty disgusting.
Oh man, some of these things are just, you know, like original Plants vs. Zombies items, and now they're selling them?
I feel you, Zach. So, worlds, huh? They're there. They sure are there. They're much more ambitious than the first game since you're traveling through time to get Crazy Dave to re-eat a taco. Oh yeah, the story. So after getting a bottle of hot sauce, we give it to Dave for his taco, which was so good he uses his time-traveling van and newcomer to the series, Penny, to go back to eat it again. However, you, Dave, and Penny all get sent back in time to ancient Egypt, and now it's up to you to fight through hordes of zombies and travel through time back to where you came from. Oh, and Zomboss is there too. I guess he's there or something. Wait, did I say something before? Oh yeah, worlds. There's 11 in total, ranging from Baby Easy to who the hell thought this was good game design? First, we've got Ancient Egypt, which is the first world that doesn't really have anything special about it. The most interesting zombie you'll come across are the ones that create graves. Pirate Seas is very forgettable. I forgot the mechanics, I forgot the music, and I would have forgotten its existence if it wasn't the second world. Wild West introduces minecarts, which trades field space for being able to shift plants between lanes. Also, this world has the sin of having this disgusting atrocity of a plant. He will go in the burning hell tier. Then again, it does have Peapod, which is my favourite plant in the game. Oh, he's in my best friend tier, by the way. But Future has power tiles, which let other plants receive plant food effects on the same type of tiles. Also, apparently in the future, machinery will consist of enlarged headgear. Dark Ages. As the name implies, this world is the PvZ2 equivalent to night, with the lack of falling sun, gravestones, and zombies you will hate to hell.
This clown shoes YouTube deflects your shots. He really just...
Big Wave Beach, oh god, this one. So much like Dark Ages, Big Wave Beach functionally is similar to Pool, but every new zombie this world throws at you only exists to crumble your defense apart. Almost every level there is going to end up with very few of your plants remaining, if any at all, and if that's not all, the challenges will crush any hopes, wills and strategies to counter this nightmare. Don't be fooled by this world's flash. Big Wave Beach is literal hell.
Can't even plant it over there. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm finished. I'm finished.
Frostbite Caves is pretty mid. Lost City introduces different tiles that react when plants and zombies touch them, be it extra sun production or sudden boulder attacks. I don't have anything to say, sorry. Neon Mixtape Tour is my favourite world aesthetically and almost musically, where music affects zombies' speed and change what abilities they'll be able to do. Wait, is that a gamer zombie? Oh god. Other than Big Wave Beach, Jurassic Marsh is probably the hardest world you'll go through, with dinosaurs launching zombies to your house and zombies that resist knockback. This world will also have your lawn be destroyed. Oh, also the music's banging. To finally cap off, there's Modern Day, which is just a whole mishmash of everything from every other world. Actually, now I think about it, that's just basically PvZ2 nowadays. Music still slaps though. Oh yeah, the soundtrack. PvZ2's soundtrack is very good and very epic and will always be in the game. Always. Yeah, they got rid of most of the soundtrack. In August 2017, all demonstration and ultimate battle themes were removed because PvZ2 was already becoming a pretty large game. But all 11 worlds were already complete in a game with the demonstration and ultimate battle themes. So why did PopCap remove the themes? I don't know, they had to add in solar tomatoes somehow. In terms of plants for this game, almost every plant from PvZ1 returns, except for a few, like Doomshroom, Rimbozo, Cattail, unless you're playing the Chinese version which is something, and Scaredy Shroom, Rimbozo. Wait, what? Anyways, tons of new plants were added to this game, way too many for me to describe, so here's a few highlights on ones I really like or personally find interesting. Bok choy. This guy's like in all the promotional stuff for early PvZ2. Like they predominantly show the ancient Egypt plants in the trailers, but bok choy specifically seems to get more of PopCap's attention. He's alright to use. Iceberg lettuce is so simple, yet so good, I'm surprised it wasn't a PvZ1 plant, and stays useful in late game when targeting dangerous zombies or using its plant food ability to stall all zombies. Snapdragon's another super simple plant that most people probably think about when it comes to PvZ2. Heck, Snapdragon appears in Battle for Neighborville. Also, I like dragons, so it's also in my best friend tier. Lightning Reed is a pretty divisive plan for PvZ fans. Either it's overpowered to you, or it's not. It really depends on how it feels to you. Me? I don't know, to be honest. Citron is bad. Moving on. Gold leaves can turn regular tiles into gold tiles, letting you produce more sun without spending space in your defense. Also, Gold Leaf believes in the stock market. Wow. Child Guard is probably one of the best plants in the game, as he can move multiple zombies back by tossing them, has multiple uses, costs 25 stun, and like to say, Fatbeat is worse Gloom Shroom. I don't know why they brought back Wintermelon but not Gloom Shroom. Why PopCap? Why did you think this was a good idea? Why? All 4 of the basic plants you get in the tutorial all get souped up primal variants in Jurassic Marsh. But screw those. Perfume Shroom is better because she sends dinosaurs against the zombies, which is awesome and cool and fun. Last but not least, Moonflower adds a whole new mechanic with the shadow plants, encouraging close range plant defenses, which you've probably already been doing with better plants. Overall, I think Plants vs Zombies 2 is pretty great, minus the whole pay to win stuff, which is a pretty big minus. But why did I title this the fall of PvZ2 then? Who could have been behind this? What could have happened to ruin it? Oh. Oh god. Wow. This stuff sucks. Ever since version 5.7.1, PvZ 2 has added a leveling system to plants which is really dumb and kind of ruins the point of Plants vs Zombies in my opinion. To me, PvZ is all about the synergies between plants, making up for each other's downsides and in some cases turning them into advantages, as well as weighing your worth with defense space and sun cost. But why do that when you only need a level 10 Mega Gatling P to kill everything and eliminate all strategy? You know, just an alternative idea. Making plants be able to level up and sometimes get new abilities may sound cool in concept, but it ultimately undermines any challenge for unique opportunities for different plant strategies, because it causes there to be no reason to use your lower level plants. PvZ 2 also added this strange seed packet unlock system alongside leveling up plants, I guess possibly after the backlash about the premium plant stuff or something. Or I guess PopCap felt like finding another way to squeeze money out of 9-year-olds playing the game. From what I've been told, getting seed packets and unlocking new plants is incredibly tedious and grindy. Which makes me ask, other than for money, why couldn't these be unlocked by playing through adventure levels? Oh, wait, they haven't made any new worlds since 2017. They haven't made any new worlds in 6 years and they're still adding new plants. Wow.
Right in there, there's some Roman zombies mixed in. I kind of wish they got their own world. Maybe they will one day, I don't know.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Zach, but PopCap's never gonna put in the effort to make a Roman world. Well, except Chinese versions. Actually, can we just get the Chinese versions instead of this? Like, look at what's going on here. I don't know what's going on, but I played that instead. Well, they may have stopped making worlds, but that didn't stop them from adding in 2 new modes. First up is Arena, which was first added in version 6.6.1. From what I can tell, you're trying to get more points than your opponent by killing zombies faster. That's it, I think. Oh, and by the way, funny story, but Arena was initially called Battles with a Z, but for some reason, some game company really didn't like that and tried to sue EA over it, so they had to rename it from Battles to Arena. I love copyright. This mode is just plain weird to me. It's like if they tried to force PvZ into a different game genre, but at the same time tried to make it tower defense. It's like a Last Stand level, but you can pick sun producers, and you still get sun while the level's playing out? But either way, in pretty much all footage I see, you're just going to resort to using your most overpowered plant, with the corresponding mint or whatever the game decides is suddenly more powerful that week. Oh yeah, diesel YouTube. So as if the leveling and PopCap adding broken plants wasn't enough, now there's these mint plants you can get which basically make all the plants become way more powerful. Seriously, every zombie will perish in here immediately with... Did that repeater just take out a gargantua that fast? And you know what's funny? These things cost 0 sun. It costs nothing. You can really easily tell PopCap's shift from creating plants for adventure to making OP arena plants, huh? Penny's Pursuit is currently the latest game mode added to PvZ 2, but unlike Arena, I have absolutely no experience with this mode, so I might be missing out on stuff. But I don't really know what's going on in this mode either, to be honest. Hang on. In Penny's Pursuit, there are 3 difficulties to choose from for a level: mild, easy, spicy, medium, and extra hard. To start a level, the player needs at least 5 fuel. Once loaded into a level of any difficulty, the player can select perks to use in a level. The player can choose 1 perk for free, but additional perks will cost gems to use in a... Oh, it's another way for PopCap to eat up credit cards. So, from what I've seen, this mode will have weekly levels for you to play, which builds up this ZPS meter thing, and when it's at 100%, you fight Zomboss, but you can't really? Like, he doesn't really die, you're just like attacking him until the time is over. And then at the end, you get like rewards and stuff, I guess. Hey, remember when PvZ 2 was an actual sequel to this game and not this garbage? Also, personal gripe of mine, but on harder difficulties, zombies are made to be way more tanky instead of throwing in more decisive zombies to throw you for a loop, causing unexpectedly unfair stuff like this to happen.
Please tell me that's at least a dead seagull. In what world am I ever supposed to beat this?
So you just bring in your most overpowered plants with the corresponding mints, making levels incredibly repetitive and samey. Huh, just like Arena. At the end of the day, PvZ 2 will always be good at its core. The gameplay is refined, the world gimmicks are more engaging than its older prequel, and the plants are so much more interesting and fun to play around with. But I still can't ignore the poor, bizarre, and often greedy choices PopCap has made over the years that slowly turned this long-awaited sequel of a beloved game into the soulless, money-making machine that most people see the game for nowadays, which sadly may forever stagnate PopCap from moving onwards and creating Plants vs Zombies 3. But something pretty interesting happened in the early 2020s, as the surge of Plants vs Zombies 2 mods started coming out, which overhauled and fixed PvZ 2's major issues, while expanding on gameplay, changing how plants work, or even adding in new mechanics that could completely change how you think. So let's go through some mods that I think are worthy of showing, starting with... When it comes to PvZ 2 mods, ECLISE is probably the first one you'd think of, and for good reason too, as it overhauls PvZ 2's structure and mechanics to the point that it feels like a different game at times. In fact, this mod basically kickstarted the PvZ 2 mod trend. Quick note, but my experience with the game was with one of the early beta versions. I don't think the creator knows that alphas come before betas. First, and probably the most notable change to ECLISE is the tier system, which replaces plant levels. Each planet has 3 different tiers which you can swap around at any time, which changes up their stats. For example, tier 3 pea shooter's attack power is raised significantly but costs much more stun to plant. This is a pretty interesting way to turn around what used to be an extremely grindy and uncreative mechanic, only added for PopCap to squeeze out more money, into an extra layer of strategy for you to consider. As well as the new tiering mechanic, ECLISE has over 300 new levels created just for the mod, after throwing different ideas your way, such as a conveyor belt stage in Lost City where you can only have 5 plants at a time, so you have to shovel them up and cycle around the plants for the right situation. Another pretty interesting level that happens later on is Wild West, where 4 sunflowers are endangered, and on top of that, they're in the front of the lawn, making you have to be constantly attentive to the zombies entering the lawn, lest you want the sunflowers to be eaten and... Wait, why'd your brains get eaten if the sunflowers die? Wait, actually, hold on. Wild West is before Lost City. I don't think that's right. Oh yeah. The world order is changed up in this mod. I mean, base PvZ 2 eventually did this too, probably because they realized that the grueling Big Wave Beach being the 6th world probably wasn't a good idea. Now the levels are more linear and unlike PvZ 1, where each world has 10 levels, as well as having an extra set of levels in Part 2. Part 2... I never got to Part 2. Well, I actually stopped playing ECLISE because I didn't enjoy it. ECLISE's most glaring flaw is its extreme difficulty and high bar for entry, especially compared to base PvZ 2. Now, I do love me a good challenge, even though I'm rather casual for a gamer, but ECLISE can be so ruthless with how hard it can get. So ruthless it's damn near impossible to beat levels, and often feels like the game is forcing you to play near task level perfectly and use the plants it wants you to use or you'll fail. And for as many interesting and fun levels as there are, there's an equal amount of forgettable, rage-inducing and generally spammy levels, which was the main reason I stopped playing, around World 8 to be specific. One other thing I really don't like is the mini plant system. Well, more specifically the way you unlock them. You basically have to gamble for them. Isn't this mod trying to get rid of all the grinding and bad design choices PvZ 2 had? Either way, if you're up for a hard time after finding PvZ 2 easy, and you don't mind the more grindier elements, then you'll probably have a good time with ECLISE. Heads up though, don't play any of the newer alpha versions because apparently they're much worse, throwing really weird and bad gameplay mechanics, and at times the levels are broken, so beware of which version you download. If you're looking for a relatively vanilla experience that doesn't change up too much from what you know, then PvZ 2 Reflourished is probably the mod for you. This mod, created by PvZ AB Fan, is about as vanilla as a mod can get, no mechanics added. The days of leveling plants, overpowered mints and weird poorly thought out game modes are over, as Reflourished rewinds things back to when modern day was complete. This isn't just an archived older version though, pretty much every plant has been tweaked around to better balance them and prevent this from happening. Oh, this plant isn't in Reflourished, by the way, which is good because she's also in the Burning House here. For example, Cold Snapdragon was basically an upgraded version of Snapdragon with next to no downsides from the original version, leaving poor old vanilla Snapdragon to be completely outclassed. When Reflourished, Cold Snapdragons received a fair price nerf of 250 Sun, as well as having a slower attack speed. Some plants were reworked a little too, like Primal Sunflower becoming a pseudo war plant as well as a sun producer, having 900 health instead of the usual 300 for most other plants. Primal Potato Mine's plant food was changed to only create a single clone of himself, because honestly, in base PvZ 2, he was basically just stronger Cherry Bomb. Reflourished also has its own world expansions, which can also let you unlock what were otherwise premium plants for free. In base PvZ 2, world expansions had no new plants you could unlock, and most of them honestly just looks like the same thing over and over again with no unique ideas thrown in the ring. Here in Reflourished, we get more interesting levels that mix pre-existing elements together, like having an endangered plant on a lane with no space to place plants in pirate seas, or constant snowstorms tossing zombies past the endangered plants, all while zombies sneak in from the back, requiring you to take out zombies fast. Top of that, Reflourished adds 2 new worlds, Holiday Mashup and Steam Ages. Well, when I say 2 new worlds, I actually mean they added a new world and ported one from the Chinese version of PvZ 2. How many points is that for the Chinese version now? Like 3? Well, anyways, these are full of new content and mechanics too, and I hope to see future updates port over more Chinese PvZ 2 content to Reflourished. All of this is for free, by the way, no microtransactions or paywalls needed. Mega huge props to PvZ AB fan and the Reflourished team for working on such a big non-profit project like this. If you can, please try to support the team in any way you can, because they really deserve it. The last mod for today is one that some of you might have not heard about before, but I think it deserves some attention because it looks pretty promising. Garden Rush is a mod created by Creeps20, who you may know as that one guy who talks about PvZ 2 plants. The one with the sway backgrounds, that one. Garden Rush seems to be attempting to make its gameplay more closely alike to Kingdom Rush, which I haven't played, by having you be more active during gameplay and also basically porting mechanics from that game too. This time around, you only have 4 seed slots to pick between, which I think is a pretty interesting change. In pretty much every other PvZ game I've played, I almost never had to decide on which plant to take out due to seed slots, because you always had so many seed slots that, well, there was never really any need to decide on which plant to bring or not. Now with only 4 seed slots, you have to put in more thought into what plants you bring. You might not even want to bring in Sunflower just so you can have more offensive and defensive plants to use, especially with how much more expensive Sunflowers are. Something new to Garden Rush is the Heroes mechanic, where you can place a special plant that is typically more powerful than the other plants you've got. For example, Cabbage Pot has now been made into a hero plant, where you can throw high damage dealing cabbages anywhere on the lawn to one zombie every so often. However, you can only have one hero active on the lawn at any time. This mechanic is actually eerily similar to a Chinese PvZ 1 game, where you have a special more powerful plant on the lawn, although you could move around the plant without shoveling it in that one. One last thing to bring up are these abilities down here. Unlike base PvZ 2, where they were a non-strategic addition made to grind children into British pounds, these both are plants that you can deploy every so often for free with varying cooldowns. The faster one, Endurian Drop, lets you place a weaker Endurian onto the lawn to weed off weaker zombies and stall zombies for just a bit longer. The slower, stronger churning ability you have is Heath Seeker, which is the closest thing to an instant use plant you've got, which can be used to take out zombies in a pinch. I don't know about this plant, to be honest. It just kind of like kills zombies for you. This mod is still early in development and there is only one world that's being made so far, but from what Creeps has shown, this mod has a ton of potential to be a fun, different kind of experience from your typical PvZ 2 mod. So if you want to try something new for PvZ, this mod might be one for you to keep an eye on. It's good to know that even when PopCap stopped caring about making Plants vs Zombies 2, well, actually good, there's people out there willing to sink hours of their own time into fixing these huge problems that plagued the rock-solid game engine back into a fun and new experience, while even adding in their own unique flair to stand out amongst the other mods. This goes for fan games, projects and ideas too. All the effort and work you guys put into them is honestly incredible, even a decade after PvZ 2 came out. Thank you all so much for keeping the heart of PvZ alive, even after so long. I've loved the first game so much and played Survival Endless over and over again for years, messing around with different plant combos, but I always felt that the sequel fell off. especially with each new update added to the game. The leveling system, the removal of the music, the weird extra modes that didn't fit the game, and Tomb Tangler. Like, who thought Tomb Tangler was a good idea? But I can always count on the amazing people behind the mods to pick up on PopCap slack. You all are the true Plants vs. Zombies. Alright boys, I sure hope you're good at fighting flying godlike ducks, because that's what you two now exist for.
Let us hide at a kind of live. Got our eyes are still in doubt and fear. And sometimes got our eyes on someone special. Look how far we've come. Found the
Hey guys, this video also took a long time, sorry for that. I genuinely kind of suck at focusing on making these kinds of videos because of how much I procrastinate. But I think I should also try working on being more efficient with video progress. Like maybe working on other scripts with videos, but with college and my gaming endeavors, it's really hard to crank out these super fast since I don't want this to be my full-time job or something. But I'll try my hardest to upload faster. Oh, also please join my Discord server, it's in the description below as always.